Hello everyone, this is Hakaym and welcome back to some more World of Warships, and today we're looking at the Tier 6 Italian cruiser, the Trento, and I recently got it. It's probably been about a week. I am joined with Ski in the Ranger and BOS Mud in the Bajoni. And as you can see, we're playing a tier 8 match, and we're bottom tier. So, let's actually talk about the ship. Now, the Trento is definitely a little bit better than her tier 5 counterpart. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it because I'm very bad at pronouncing Italian names, apparently. So, as per usual, the Italian ship has SAP shells. They still have a very high arcing to them, so you do have to provide a decent amount of lead to land your shells accurately. And I'm going to be missing my shells quite a bit. It's definitely a line I have to work on. Now at the tier A is when it's supposed to be a lot better, but at least low tier, long range, you're going to have to provide a bit more lead. Unfortunately for our div mate there, is being focused on by the enemy CV. And don't worry, we will be seeing the enemy CV as well. So the Trento has a detect of 12.7 kilometers. This is a stealth build, as well as stealth as you can get it. And what's really going for it is its speed and obviously the smoke. Defensively, I used smoke because, well, I had 4 ships aiming at me, and that is an Amagi. So fairly dangerous in the right conditions. Now, obviously, unfortunately, our wonderful Kagero there has yet to really come around the island and is actually not spotting, so that's not particularly great. Speed on the Trento is fast, getting up to around 37 knots. Maneuverability on the rotor shift time is fairly decent, which really helps with the survivability and being able to dodge, because, well, the armor on the Trento is not particularly great, and especially when facing off against tier 8 battleships. So being able to dodge and be nimble is really beneficial for this tier. The AA on the ship is not overly impressive. It can shoot down planes. Once again, unfortunately, we will actually be seeing that, which is really beneficial. Range on the Trento is 16.1 kilometers. Decent range. I do run the spottercraft just to have that additional range, to make it a lot more easier to keep at distance while still providing some manner of shots. Nuremberg is reversing. Was expecting him to obviously speed up, but no, he decides to sit quite stationary and not really do much with that. Now the SAP, as I did mention, it's a little floaty. As you can see, at about 14 kilometers, it does take about 9 seconds for it to get downrange. A little bit floaty, so it does take a little bit of practice. Its armor piercing is actually good. I don't think I'll be using it that much, but don't forget your AP. Your AP is actually fairly decent and is viable against broadside battleships, or sorry, cruisers, which is beneficial at times because obviously that deals a lot more damage than your SAP. The torpedoes are, well, they're kind of crap. I mean, they're not particularly amazing. They do have a really long range of 12 kilometers, but you only have one set on each side with 3 torpedoes, and they're not particularly fast. I think it's going to take almost a few minutes just for them to go their full duration which can be beneficial because it is kind of a sneaky surprise. You can essentially drop them and then forget about them, and more than likely, well, not more than likely, possibility that, you know, some unknown ship might actually run into it. So that is kind of the benefit of it. As far as anything else, as far as my personal taste, we're actually trying the AP. I was really hoping the Sternberg would show me broadside. Got some hits, not that high of damage, no citadels obviously, got at least some penetrations on it. As usual, the reload time on this ship is about 15 seconds, so not really impressive. Definitely they really hit you hard with that very slow reload right from the start. Now, I can't say about like the tier 4 and 5 whether or not it is the same down low tier, but definitely 5 and 6 and all the way up through tier 10. Very slow reload, which is not particularly great. Fortunately, with the proper captain skills, the guns stay on target, which is amazing because you will be maneuvering around quite a bit. So being able to keep your guns on target is really, really beneficial. Now the guns obviously only have 2 guns per turret, so you don't have that many shells. You only have a total of 8, but accuracy dispersion is pretty darn good, which is really beneficial. Unfortunately, I'm not having the best of luck actually landing on target. Now, I would almost say it might be beneficial having expert loader on the ship, just so you're able to switch between your SAP shells and your AP. Really beneficial. Now, the CV isn't particularly happy with me. This is actually where we start to see the CV starting to attack us, getting some decent amount of damage. Now this is obviously a tier 6 carrier, so it is a good observation on the AA of the ship. And I really don't know why this CV doesn't much care for it, but with the priority AA sector, we did see at least some decent amount of damage, 255, which is really beneficial because obviously did manage to shoot down a few planes. Once again, SAP is really fantastic against destroyers. However, we're just having a bit of a tough issue at the moment, actually landing shots, and that is a Fantastique, which is a fairly quick French destroyer. Now, I will have to say I do like the Trento a little bit more than the tier 5. I feel like it is starting to show the potential of the Italian cruisers. I'm still a little bit hesitant to really give my full thoughts on whether or not how I really feel about the Italian cruisers. And once again, CV is attacking our area. It does look like C is at least trying to offer some assistance with his fighter planes, which is always good to see in a CV. Now, this entire match, we've actually been kind of on the up and up, which is really, really nice. We're actually currently ahead 2 ships. It is standard battle. But for the most part, I've actually been the only one on the west side. Does look like we have a few assistants, and the enemy Trento with the Vladivostok is starting to push in, which is not the worst thing, because it is going to get focused on that Trento. I did switch over to AP once again, trying out the AP, see how it does, but unfortunately this Trento goes down relatively quickly, and unfortunately we have somewhat brought the ire of this Vladivostok, which is now starting to focus on us. It does look like He goes back and forth. Now this is actually probably a good demonstration of how SAP is reacting to the armor on battleships. Certain areas of the battleship you can get decent penetrations, especially the superstructure, the bow and the stern where the armor is a little bit thinner. Obviously around the armor belt, the torpedo bulge, the armor is going to be a little bit thicker and your shells are going to shatter. We do get around 4,000 points of damage there, but this Vladivostok pushed in way too far and is starting to get focused on by a decent amount of players. We do have the Edinburgh and the North Carolina focusing on him, and it does look like he is looking at us. Once again, really nice thing about these ships is they're really agile. Only got a penetration there, took a little bit of damage, not too much, but being able to nimbly dodge those shells is really beneficial. Used my last smoke there, and that dispersion was looking pretty good. Shells are still incoming. Does look like Ski does get a torpedo hit on the Vladivostok, who pushed up way too far, which is not particularly great for him. But it is beneficial for us because we're actually getting some decent amount of hits. Once again, bringing the ire of the CV. The CV is coming after us again, which is it's a little bit of annoyance because the armor on the ship is not particularly thick, and these rockets are going to hurt us a little bit. Fortunately, we dodge the salvo from the Vladivostok and have managed to dodge. I think we actually had almost 3 battleships looking at us. We had the Amagi, Vladivostok, and the Warspite all shooting at us. But fortunately for us, the ship is agile. That's one thing I definitely like about this ship. Using the spottercraft, I highly recommend the spottercraft over the fighter. So extremely beneficial because it does mean you're able to shoot at targets at a much greater distance, 19.3 kilometers. Fortunately, that Vlad is going to go out of our range because we are starting to get pushed in by the Amagi. The Amagi really hasn't done much. He's been kind of sitting at the back for quite some time, so it's not particularly... he's not been that aggressive, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But it does look like our team is going to win this. Enemy team only has 5 ships down, while we have 9 ships. So quite a bit of a difference there, and I love that. I love being able to go undetected after going behind an island. So beneficial. But once again, we do have the potential of continuing firing on the Amagi, keeping that distance. That distance is so beneficial, and you have a lot more time to react at incoming salvos at this range than you would have otherwise. And unfortunately, I am going to be running aground here. Actually, no, I believe I get away with it. But you can also see those torpedoes that I fired off a while ago are still inbound towards the Amagi. And I'm trying to remember if we actually managed to land a hit. I don't remember. Once again, these torpedoes, not particularly amazing. Can be a surprise on enemy players at times. But the enemy players have plenty of time to react to your torpedoes. So it's always beneficial to drop them because once again it can be kind of a nasty surprise. You do have to be careful that none of your friendly players decide to run into them. Now at this time this Amagi is going to get focused down relatively quickly. Our SAP shells are decent amount decent amount of damage, almost 4,000 on that salvo. He is gonna get burned down by the friendly Pensacola. I don't know if we're gonna get the kill. Let's see if we can actually get a kill. Nope. Got a few hits, but he is going to go down to that fire. But unfortunately, we have pushed in towards this enemy in New Mexico that has all of a sudden decided to push down the Western Front. And once again, this is a very lightly armored cruiser, and obviously showing broadside can be quite detrimental to your health. We did eat a Citadel, but we are going to be able to at least turn away and pull back. Enemy Warspite. Potential target pretty much came down to the fact that our guns are currently facing that way. Probably could have focused on that New Mexico a bit more. That probably would have been a better idea. Fortunately for us, this New Mexico is missing his shots, and the friendly Kagero smokes up for some odd reason. I actually don't know why he did. But this New Mexico goes down to the enemy, the friendly Kagero, and all that's left on the enemy team is the Atlanta, who has been open water boating this entire time. But that is essentially going to be it for this video. Kind of a quick look at the Trento, which I'm still kind of working on getting a better grasp. I am hesitant to really say I like it, but we'll see how the next few tiers are, and hopefully they get a little bit better. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button. You guys have a great and fantastic day. Zai Chen.